Right. Then this is a very broad definition about communication. It says that communication is the transfer and understanding of meaning. I'll give another improved Spanish definition. You can write down that. What happens in communication? Parties exchange information or messages meaningfully, right? Or to achieve some goals, common goals. No? In that way, we can write down another definition. Communication is a process. Ne? Communication is a process to of transmitting, of exchanging messages, exchanging messages between people or between parties or between people meaningfully to achieve common goals. Right. It's more clear, no? This is broad. When you look at this picture, downloaded from an OB book, all what we are going to discuss in this lesson can be seen, no? Observe. Here also, no, that exchange of information or message can be seen, no? There are parties. The sending party is in the standing mode. He is presenting, no? Presentation. The audience is seated. There are more members, right? Then here also communication happens, no? Exchanging information or messages meaningfully to achieve common goals, common communication goals, no? Right. Finally, communication is very important, no? For all of us to perform, no? To achieve enhance our performance, right? That's the number one skill set for the successful leadership person, right? Then other things we are going to discuss also can be seen here. No? Here we can see different types of communication: formal, informal, electronic, verbal, non-verbal. Right? There are parties, no? At least 2 parties. Then this can be identified with the group communication as well. Group communication. Then there can be barriers also, no? Here, including noise barrier. There can be some other barriers like language, filtering, selective perception, emotions, right? Then this is a general model used to understand the communication process. There are 2 parties, no? In this, first part is the sender or the encoder. The other one is the receiver or the decoder or the audience. But since both are individuals, no? People are individuals, they are cognitive variables. These personal variables can intervene the way the message is encoded and the way it is understood. Then to pass the message, exchange the message, there should be a medium or different media, right, or channels. The channels or medium can be verbal, non-verbal, written, or electronic, right? But better use many channels, no, to enhance the effectiveness of the communication, right? Not only one channel. And noise is inevitable in the communication process. Here also for our communication also noise affects as a barrier, right? Then to complete the communication process, there should be another element called feedback. to ensure whether the message reached as expected, as intended. Right. Sending an email also, we try to verify that, no? Check in the box, inbox or send box, no? And so feedback. Right. That's how this model of communication should be understood. Any questions or clarifications about the way we define it and identify the process? Any questions? Sometimes, in addition to these variables given here, the parties or persons, education, background, family background, gender, marital status, age, other demographical variables also can intervene, no? To encode and to decode the message. Right. Then now we are going to identify different types of communication. We consider this as organizational communication, no? In an organization, communication can be broadly divided as what? Formal and informal, no? Formal communication and informal communication. Therefore, we better develop a chart, a tree diagram, like a family tree. First, we have to use the word organizational communication. Can be mainly divided as formal and informal. And informal, no? Some scholars say informal communication as, with a nice good name, is as a communication grapevine. Grapevine. Then formal can be further divided as vertical and horizontal or lateral. In organizing also we discussed this, no? Before. I use the short name communication. Then horizontal. Or lateral. Lateral is the best word because to consider horizontal, there should be at least two teams in the same level. But group communication starts, horizontal communication or lateral starts among members in a group or a team. Therefore, then we can't use the term horizontal. That's why now scholars are using the term lateral. Then vertical has two types as been mentioned in the given slide, downward and upward, no? Downward communication and upward communication. Lateral can happen within the group and other different groups in the same line, different parties in the same line, maybe among line managers, maybe among project managers, maybe among workers, but in the same line or something. Then there are different patterns of grapevine. There are rumors, social media, and a lot of rumors are going on. Then gossips are also going on. Then legends are also going on.
Excuse me, sir.
Hello, you cannot
Yeah.
see that.
The thing is, camera is very far away. It's not focusing the whiteboard.
Right. Okay, na?
It's okay, sir, but the thing is
not
far
clear.
away. It's not clear.
This is the only length of the cable.
Now it's a little bit okay, but not much clear.
Heading is organizational communication, then mainly it is divided into two: formal communication on left and informal communication on right. Informal communication is identified also identified as communication grapevine. Grapevine. It has rumors, gossips, and legends as different patterns. Then formal can be divided further as vertical and horizontal. The best name for the horizontal is lateral communication. Then vertical can be divided as downward and upward communication. Those are there. Yeah, having drawn, now we will briefly explain these points. First, we will consider vertical, two parts of the vertical communication. Downward is the top down communication. Upward is the bottom up communication. And downward follows a chain of command principle as we discussed in the introduction session and organizing topic. Then the goals, job instructions, policies, procedures, problems, need of feedback, all can be asked by senior managers, top managers from the lower level managers and employees, no, via middle management level, tactical level. Right. Then it is a task sending role as we discussed in vertical coordination. Right. Then to respond that upward communication or bottom up communication happens from the lower level employees to the top level. As providing feedback, work in progress, grievances, problems faced by employees and shop floor level, operational level, or problems faced by teams, all can be communicated from lower level to the top level. Therefore, they both allows the vertical to complete vertical communication and vertical coordination in an organization. Right. Then horizontal term can be replaced with the term lateral. Then we will use this, but keep in mind both are interchangeable. Lateral communication takes place first among members in a group or a team. Then other members in other groups or teams, but at the same level. Even similar managers, individuals also can communicate it in this way. Horizontally, employees also can do that. Right. Even in the board of directors, no, they can communicate. It is also a part of the lateral communication. It is also a group coalition. But they use vertical channels mostly to follow the as a downward communication. But both should be there. Then otherwise the organizational activities cannot be coordinated. People behavior cannot be coordinated. Right. Then today these are the three architectural patterns of formal communication. In the vertical communication, as per the chain of command principle, this chain pattern can be seen, chain pattern in both the downward and upward. In the lateral or horizontal communication, group communication, we can see the wheel type, wheel pattern. Leader is there, around him or her, members are communicating. But to complete both coordinations, both communication, chain wheel should come together, allowing the all channel practice, all channel practice. Right. Then today, more weightage has been given for the informal communication. It cannot be separated. It can give a lot of benefits for both managers and employees. As benefits given for managers, no, informal communication of grade 1 can help to have very interesting information which cannot be detected by the formal communication channel, and also it can speed up the communication information dissemination. It can help to reduce high workload of managers, and from the employees perspective, it can help them to share their complaint, anxieties, grievances, and also they can help employees to satisfy their psychological needs, belonging needs, and to have some informal groups or informal cliques using their interest and friendships or closeness. Right. Then Chester Bernard, like experts know, in those days, in 1930s, 40s, even wrote much about the importance of informal communication. Right. Now today, using modern social media networks, no, the parties in societies as well as in organizations trying using much informal communication. Sometimes they would not present very correct information, but people like using it. No, based on them, they will try to see the correct picture. Right. Some information are very correct as presented by the formal communication channels. Right. That's the first base of identifying different types of organizational communication. Next, we can identify different types looking at the methods or technique used to have the communication. Then in that on that ground, we can consider communication as oral communication, written communication, non-verbal communication, and electronic communication. In oral communication, what happens? The message is presented in speeches, no? In which speeches, one-to-one discussions, group discussions, using all informal communication patterns, but message is presented orally with voices. Right, that is important. It cannot be done with other communication methods. Right. Then in written communication, I am also using, we are also using mainly oral and both. No, three, both written and electronic. All three are used by us. We are using body languages also. Right. Then in written communication, parties use these techniques, no? Methods, memos, letters, fax, email. It involves both hard and soft copies. Both hard, soft copies, but the message can be considered with text or pictures, no? Right. Words, symbols. Right. Then annual reports, periodicals, notice, newspapers, even TV. Radio cannot do that. radio does only the oral communication. Sometimes announcers can use body languages also. They can change the voices, sounds to get the attention in some words. But in TV, no all can work. Oral, written, body languages, electronic, all can work on TV and on other similar techniques. But we can't undermine the important role played by non-verbal communication with the body movements and facial expressions, even dress code of the person can communicate, function as non-verbal communication, and physical distance, use, and other expectations. Right. Then today there's a high demand for the electronic communications, no? Used as emails, text messages, network software, blogs, video conferencing, and many others. Right. They give massive advantages, no? But still there's a drawback of that. Some parties, no? All individuals cannot come to the same level of understanding. Sometimes it is misunderstood and misused for other means, not to achieve common goals, but to achieve individual goals. That's the main disadvantage of this. Sometimes people can use this for error purposes, fraudulent things, no? To hack others' with properties, to check the privacy of others, right? To engage in anti-social activities like theft, sexual harassment, bullying, those things. That's the main disadvantage of this electronic communications. It is not an error of these techniques, but the way people use them, error in using them. Therefore, to prevent them, minimize them, there are intellectual property laws, right, introduced even in Sri Lanka. Right. That's how this part should be understood, that different types of communication. Right, then we can identify different barriers, no, to effective communication. Noise has not been mentioned here. Noise is also a barrier actually. Right. First one mentioned is called filtering. Filtering happens from the sender side. It is the intentional manipulation of information in a favorable manner towards the receiver. A small example is given here to understand that normal manager in an organization, based on his past experience, can try to send the message through filtering, no? Because he or she knows that if the message is sent to that boss in that manner, boss likes hearing that. He or she can get a lot of appreciation from the boss. Therefore, with that habit of past experience, the sender tries to modify, filter the message information. Then it is presented to the receiver in a favorable manner. As human beings, it happens not always. Right. It is called filtering. Right. Then if the receiver makes the decision based on the filtered information, I think the decision would be in a biased one. It is not the best one. Right. Then next problem happens from the receiver side. Filtering happens from the sender side. Selective perception happens from the receiver side. Yeah. Based on the personal variables we noted in the model of communication, sometimes those variables can intervene. Even to do the filtering also, no, those variables intervene. The sender. Here, the similar variables intervene in the receiver. To understand the message, interpret and understand the message on on his or her personal grounds. Right. That's the actual real nature of communication. Reality of the communication means the way the message sent by the sender is interpreted and understood by the receiver based on his or her personal background and other variables. Right. If I give a small example to understand this problem, selective perception problem, in recruiting candidates for positions, sometimes mostly interview panel members should follow different criteria to evaluate them. But some panel members can be biased on selective perception error. Then normally we know that when male candidate goes for an interview, he should wear a tie, no, in a smart way. But some do not go for interviews with ties. In such a situation, assume that the panel members from the beginning try to reject the candidate for selecting the position because of he has not worn a tie. But actually, that candidate would be the best candidate for that position to perform that. Because of this selective perceptional error, used to make the final decision based on one single criteria, then correct decision might not be done. Right. Therefore, whenever we should use a different criteria to make a decision, we should evaluate all of them. Need not to make the final decision based on one or two criteria. If so, such a decision may be affected by this problem, selective perceptional problem. Yeah, this is very helpful for your common life also, right? In selecting a person, no, you have to evaluate him or her, no, based on different criteria, not only looking at the outset. Otherwise, later you have to worry about the decision you have done. Right, then this one is clear, no? Information overload is another barrier to effective communication, especially when we deal with the people. There's a capacity of people to process data and to read data and to understand it. Looking at that differs actually person to person. Then looking at the audience capacity, you have to present the information, load of the information. If I give a small example to understand this clearly, assume that you are supposed to do a presentation based on a project or something, on a topic or something, you are supposed to do a presentation for your senior managers, right? Then we normally know that senior managers are not the experts, no, to one particular area. They are generalists, they are laymen. Then looking at that, you have to organize the contents of your presentation to present them in a user-friendly manner with the summarized data and with figures, charts, graphs, and so on. Then they can easily understand the findings. Right. That would be a small example to understand how to overcome, how to skip this limitation, information overload. In preparing slides also, no, we should do that. Sometimes lecturers will blame, no, they blame if you have used a very small letters, font, and if you have included many words, now so many words in a slide. It's a barrier to understand the message. Right, next one is emotions. But without emotions, we can't live and work. Certain level of emotions should be there to communicate. But too much of emotions and making decisions using too much of emotions is bad. Right. And this involves not only that, but the party's mood at the point, at the moment. The mood should be in a positive mood, no? If the sender receiver is in an angry mood, very unpleasant mood, unhappy mood, then we should refrain from communicating with the party in that moment. Right. That happens actually, when workers, no, subordinates try to see and communicate the boss. First, he or she tries to understand the mood of the boss. When the mood is positive only, the person no, approaches to meet and communicate the matter. Right. It is important. Otherwise, the expected communication goal or objectives cannot be achieved because the particular mood-based emotions of the party can distract them, hinder the effectiveness. Right. In family, it's also same now. Looking at the mother's or father's mood, we try to communicate, and they also do the same. Looking at the mood of the children, they try to communicate with them. Right. Otherwise, the expected goals performance cannot be achieved. Right. Next one is language. No, language is different things to different people. Even the particular context comes with the language. It is the biggest factor, no, influencing the effectiveness of communication. Therefore, when you use the language, you have to select a proper language to match with the audience. The language you use to communicate with your friends should be different, right? From the way you organize the language to communicate message with your bosses or parents, right? Based on your experience, you have to think of these and organize or use the language. It includes words, jargons, technical words, keywords. In answering to questions also, no, you have to properly use the language. In preparing your assignment, I repeatedly say, use the language properly. Because you are not there, no? When the examiners are observing and evaluating your draft script, you are not there. It's only a written communication. In oral communication also, no, you can use the language to attract the audience. You have to use body languages also, body languages. Eye to eye contact, have a good distance. You have to show the teamwork if it is a team presentation. Use the time management properly, no? Prepare the slides even attractively. Right. Those areas should come in. Right. Then next one is silence. But without a certain level of silence, we can't hear, listen. Then good listening is a inevitable requirement, no, to do the communication. Without listening, we can't communicate. But too much of silence can provide poor information, poor lack of information. That's the problem of silence. But when we communicate, always we should be silent. We should hear, no, understand the information, message. Right. Then next one is called communication apprehension. This is a person, individual, or person-driven problems. Sometimes some individuals naturally face extremely difficult situations when they try to have face-to-face communication with others, or else some others are reluctant to use these mobile phone calls, no, with others, because they don't know sometimes they have bitter experience in the past. Whenever they try to use them, those bad experiences come to their mind, right? But these problems can be overcome through training, even through the experience, and so on. Last one is the line. Intentional misrepresentation of information. It is always avoided, right? But people try to do that, no? In our religions also, no? We are supposed to not lie, but we do that sometimes intentionally or mistakenly. We do that. Then silence means lack of information. line brings wrongful information. Wrongful information. Then both are barriers. Both are barriers. Right. But in our society, line is not much, discouraged in our society. But in a society like Japan, Japanese society, line is much condemned. If they feel that one is lying, the person is condemned from the society. Right. Then these should be understood actually based on the value systems of the prevailing community or society. Beliefs and values. Even in the parliament level, no, we see a lot of lying, bullies make decisions. Then we can't expect from the general people, public, to behave in a good manner, better manner. But it is not an excuse, no. If they can behave in a good manner, sometimes through that top leaders can be influenced. Always we should not do what is called unexpected things, because of unexpected things are done by leaders. That's how these selected barriers to effective communication should be understood. But though there are barriers, for each barrier there is a solution, but not to get rid of, avoid that, but to overcome, minimize. That's why we say perfect communication is never attainable at any time. But we can improve the effectiveness of communication to improve performance or to achieve the communication goals. Perfect 100% communication is never attainable at any time. We can't satisfy everybody through communication. Even Lord Buddha could not do. No? Jesus could not do. Wherever there is an opposition, what is called refraining party, we can't satisfy everybody. But we try to do ideal communication, democratic communication always. That's the ideal type. Actually, I found that in my PhD research also. I used that German philosopher Habermas communication action theory. As per that, to do a ideal or democratic communication, some interrelated variables should be considered. That is communication completeness, communication accuracy, objectivity or accuracy, communication subjectivity. That is very important, the personal behaviors in communication, and the validity of that. It should comply with the rules, regulations, and ethics. Right. That's how very good democratic ideal communication situation should be created. Right. Then most of the participants can be happy in such a situation. Then our national leaders also should have such a framework perspective in communicating and making decisions, but we don't see that. They try to make decisions to satisfy themselves on the minority only. The majority is suffering. Right. Therefore, without a philosophy vision, people cannot go for development. The narrow learning is not enough. The college is not a factor enough. Whatever the college background, they should know, they should make decisions on a philosophical route with a vision. That vision should be developed as a shared vision by others also, not a vision only applicable to the vision of the leader. But the countries like India had good leaders. We also had good leaders those days. But now we forget their outstanding work and the measure works and the values. Right. Then we have come to the last point to understand this as implications, managerial implications from the discussion we had on communication. First one says that the less distortion, that means less filtering the message, the more employees will receive goals, feedback, and other management messages as they like. Yeah, that is true, no? Therefore, senders should be able to minimize the distortion as much as possible. But this is identified as a requirement, as an error, barrier in this topic, communication. But when you do a topic like power politics of managers, this is encouraged. Information manipulation is encouraged. It is mostly used power political strategy by leaders, actors to influence others or to get the task done. Right. Therefore, in this lesson only, this is considered as a barrier. When we do another topic in management and OB, this should be accepted. Right. Therefore, there are paradoxal situations in studying these subjects. Contradictions are there. In society also same. There are contradictions. We have to deal with them. Right. Next point says high use of or extensive use of vertical, lateral, informal channels. That means using different channels. Multi-channels can increase communication flow, can reduce uncertainty, and improve the performance and satisfaction of members. That is correct. But as I mentioned before, the perfect communication is unattainable. But there is a positive relationship between effective communication and other positive results like worker productivity and worker satisfaction, and it can lead to reduce worker absenteeism and turnover, labor turnover. It can enhance teamwork, synergy. Right, there are massive benefits of effective communication. But as I mentioned, everybody cannot be satisfied through a communication. Selecting the correct channel. These are major communication strategies. Major communication strategies. Selection of the correct channel or channels, and be an effective listener, good listener, and use the feedback. Major communication strategies. Through these, I think most of the barriers we mentioned above can be addressed positively. But there are some other techniques also, no? Small techniques used by managers to enhance the effectiveness of communication. These are major strategies. Whatever the sender's expectations, the message as understood or decoded by the receiver is the reality of the communication. I mentioned this also, no? That's the reality. Then more influence can be done by the receiver, no? Audience. That has more power in communication. The potential for misunderstanding of electronic communication as well as misusing of it is the main drawback, no, of using electronic communication, though they provide massive advantages. Then it says that make sure you use communication strategies appropriate to match with your audience, no, when you are sending messages. Finally, though we are not different barriers to effective communication due to different reasons, all of them can be minimized, no, in order to enhance the effectiveness of communication. Right. Then with that, I'll give a revision question on that. Right, you can write down. Revision question, no, to assess yourself. But without writing, you can't improve writing, no? Briefly explain briefly explain five barriers to effective communication. Five barriers to effective communication. Five barriers to effective communication. And propose a solution. Propose a solution. Propose a solution or strategy for each of them. For each of them. Right. Then the question, your answer has two parts. First, you have present barriers, then you solution for each to overcome. Then in present in this answer, you can use two columns, no? Two columns. On left, you can state five barriers. Then on right, give the solution. That's the best way of presenting it. The presentation of your information is very important, no? Then giving the good, correct information. Right. That's the objectivity, ne? That's the objectivity. Everybody can follow that. Professionally, in a professional, that's what I referred based on that philosophy, communication philosophy, objectivity. Accuracy is the correctness. You have to, give the correct information, points. That's the end of this short topic, but it is very important. It's paramount important. Always has to keep on. Most problems are because of poor communication. Poor communication. Poor means inappropriate communication. Inappropriate communication can be understood as over communication, under communication, communication through wrong mood. Right. Then we will try to study another article also, no? Published by consultants. It covers both leadership and communication, but more weightage has been given for highlighting the importance of effective communication, even for successful leadership. Right. Right. Thank you. Then what is better? After a break, we will study that, go through that document quickly. Right. Okay, then have a break for about 10 minutes. Coming back, we will do that. Online members also can have your own break for about 10 minutes. Coming back, we will continue. Others are still having the break. Right, this is the second document I should share. After this, is it enough for us to complete the quiz? Yeah, next possible. This is mainly on communication, importance of having appropriate communication. If it is appropriate, then leadership success can be achieved. If it is not, that is a failure. That's a failure for the leadership. Right. In both the ways, no? Then the number one skill set to be successful leaders today is what? Communication, nothing else. Even other skills, other behavioral patterns of the leader can be presented through communication. Without communication, even they cannot be presented. Yeah, this was published by Blanchard companies. You remember, you might remember Blanchard. We discussed Hersey and Blanchard's situation and leadership model. He's the one I think started, is the founding leader of this associate. Yeah. Most of those, giant scholars have started foundations, no? They are now run by others, followers. Right, then critical leadership skills, title, key traits that can make or break today's leaders. In both the sense, communication matters here. This is a background to understand the issue. Issue means the need of the study, need of considering this concept and practice. Right. It says that strong online members can hear it in on the mic. Strong leadership is the backbone of personality of an organization. Then, because leaders can create the vision, and based on that, they can support the strategies, and they are the chain agent, no, or the catalyst for developing leadership strength in the organization and to move it forward. But still, leadership can be a leadership characteristic, no? All cannot achieve the success through that. And it is not clear what kind of things required to develop leadership. Right. Now, this work will do some good contribution for that. Developing leaders to their full potential is or remains one of the great challenges for even today's organizations. We know that leadership is the backbone, and also we know that leadership should be developed to fulfill the gaps with the baby boomers retirement. But it is not clear how to develop leadership. What are the things we should use to develop leaders? That is not clear. Right. Then upcoming demographic changes threaten to send numerous baby boomers that are currently already gone, actually, that are currently, by the time of writing this article, it is currently now already happened all over the world. Currently in leadership positions into retirement. This will make developing leadership based strength and greater challenge for organizations to resolve in order to remain competitive in the future. Now they have faced this problem, no? Right. That's the background issue. Now this is what this study survey has been carried out. The methodology part. In 4 separate studies conducted long ago, but still these findings are helpful as to understand the concept, no? And the issue. Conducted into 3 through 6 by the companies, 2004 respondents, that means who shared the information about these respondents or interviewees, cited, they said that developing leadership bench strength as their number one issue. These respondents may be the managers or executives or senior managers interviewed by these researchers. In order to understand and define the most critical components of leadership, effective leadership, these companies launch a follow-up study covering more than 1,400 leaders, managers, and executives. They shared their views on critical skills, right? Positively as not happened, the other common mistakes most leaders do, right? Then these are the key findings, summary of the findings. First point says, the ability to communicate appropriately is an essential component for effective leadership. In the follow-up study from the sample, 43% of respondents identified communication skill as the most critical skill set. And 41 of others said that ineffective communication or inappropriate communication is the main mistake leaders do. Right. Then others are some behavioral concerns of leaders, effective people management, empathy, emotional intelligence. But to do this, what is required? Communication and trust building. Right. But I am not reading all this to save time. I will upload this to the post page. Later you can download, and if you see reading other areas also important, you can do that. Right, then survey has asked 3 questions. First 2 are open-ended questions. Last one is choice-making question. What's the first question? In the pessimistic way, they have asked this question. What is the biggest mistake leaders make when working with others? Right, it's an open-ended question. That means respondents could give their own views, briefly, and provide more information, not only to tick off. Right. They have said that inappropriate use of communication, including poor listening, is the number one mistake they do. Good example, noise is a very high noise. Inappropriate communication was cited as the number one mistake leaders make. Too often, leaders either don't communicate, or they will over communicate, or they communicate inappropriately with the improper mood, with the outburst, anger, blaming. But simply most of them don't communicate clearly. Right. In addition, leaders may fail to communicate the vision in a way that is understandable or meaningful, assuming that the people will understand intuitively. Here, the one nice term is used for people, employees. What is that? Direct reports. Direct reports. Yeah. Now, modern writers identify employees, human resource as direct reports, because they also have power to evaluate the effectiveness of leadership. Right. But these failed leaders assume that people will understand the company directions in their own way. Right. But we can't say so. Communication is different to different people. Another critical mistake, lack of clear communication regarding roles, goals, expectations, and the importance of specific behaviors to achieve the goals. Right. Right. All of these undermine individual productivity and performance. Right. Addition, poor listening, not giving feedback, ignoring alternative viewpoints of others, failing to seek clarity through active listening are some negative aspects of communication which lead to undermine the leadership effectiveness and trust building. Right. Right. These are the other skill sets highlighted or found by this study. I am not going to read the contents, but if you carefully look into this, without proper communication, trust building, I think these may not work. Right. Right. That's the results of the answers given to the question 1. Question 2 is here. It is the optimistic aspect, positive aspect. What is the most critical skill a leader can possess when working with others? Again, the same thing, communication and listening. Communication is identified as the most critical leadership skill. The ability to listen, use body languages, ask questions, provide feedback, and generate effective two-way communication, build trust, and can present performance from down the road. Right. In addition, the ability to comfortably use a variety of communication styles or channels in order to articulate goals and objectives paves the way for healthy working relationship at every level in an organization. Last point, providing relevant information allows employees to participate fully in their work and decision making. Right. Then these are the other management skill sets highlighted here: effective management skills, emotional intelligence and empathy, values and integrity, vision, empowerment. I think none of these would work unless considering to have communication and listening appropriately. Right. Third question, last question. They have asked, what are the top 5 things that leaders mostly often fail to do when working with others? Right. What are the reasons? Failure to provide appropriate feedback. Feedback is both identified in the communication process. It is also part of communication. 82% of respondents have said so, no? Right. Then failing to listen. Listening is also part of communication. 81% of them have said so. Right. The others are failing to use leadership style, failing to set goals and objectives clearly, train and develop people clearly. In all efforts, other efforts also, I think what is mostly required, communication. Right. In that sense, we can't undermine the importance of developing using appropriate communication, not over under, but to match with the audience and the situation. Right. Right, I quickly finish this one to save time. I'll upload this to the course page later. You can download that or do right. Well, still the findings are very important for us. Using these points, try to develop your managerial and leadership capacities step by step in future, especially to communicate. Yeah, right. Okay, I think online members also I think took part in this effort. Then we will go for the quiz. I'll follow the list, right? There can be more absences, I think. Right. Kaluarachchi is the first one. What we are learning for you. The transferring.
Person to another person. This is communication is basically interpersonal communication.
But first, actually, communication happens within a person, no? Within a person, we try to, communicate with our mindset. That's the starting point. It is called intra-person, not intra, INTRA, intrapersonal communication. That's the first one at the micro level. Then we communicate with others, with another or with some other group communication. Then we use mass communication also, right? The larger population, right? Next one, Yashoda.
The transmission of messages by signals through a non-verbal style, such as eye contact, facial expression, gestures, postures, use of objects, and body language.
Okay, that is also important. Say, absent. You are the one. No, sorry.
emotions as a barrier in communication. So without emotion, it's not easy to do your work, but at the same time, too much of emotions are not good. Example, the same, but the same perception can be communicated in two ways. For example, between an angry, it can be communicated in a aggressive way. Same way when you are happy, friendly way. So
Now only you are coming, no? Right. Pushpika.
type of communication. We simply identify the top-down communication. As an example, when top level management prepare a budget, they can assign monthly or quarterly target to the down level managers.
Nishanka. Nishanka, right?
I would like to talk about the major communication strategies. They are choosing the correct channels, being an effective listener and using feedback. We can follow these effectively, communication plan properly.
Right. Fonseca. Absent, no? Not online. Fonseca, right? 045 absent. The last day also absent. Last day is the last day ID. Samara Tungal. Samara Tungal. 016. Also absent, no? 016. Bandar.
Formal communication. Formal communication refer to the follow of the visual information through the proper visual channel and move. The flow information is controlled and needs regulate to be properly communicated. Formal communication follows the hierarchical structure and chain column. Formal communication divided into two categories: vertical and horizontal. In example that discuss data reports, orders.
Right. B Silva 001.
Use the information, informal communication better to identify the issues that the employees that are important, which is not covered in very much covered in formal communication, and it is more effective than the formal communication.
Right. Sandarun 014. Sandarwan. Sandarwan. Is why online. Eh? But number is different, no? That Sandarwan's number is different. Here 014. Actually, Sandarwani, a female name. Absent, no? Across.
That is effective communication. Filtering is essentially manipulating information so that the receiver will take it favorably. Selective perception is that the receiver selectively sees and hears based on their specific needs. Information overload is that the person has the capacity for the information project. So it's about the specific capacity, it's information overload. There's emotions. So depending on the person's emotions, so they will deliver the communication. They will deliver the information might change. Language barriers, etc.
Right. Another Samarthunga is here, no? 005. Present or not? No. 005 Samarthunga. Above one also Samarthunga 016. Next one Ratnayak 018. What's your point?
Oral communication, spatial communication, non-verbal communication, and electronic communication. Example of oral communication is speech and discussion. Non-verbal communication, memorable the memo letters. An example for non-verbal communication, the body movement, raise the present. Electronic communication, example for email.
Right. Yeah, Vikram 046. What's your answer?
About organizational communication. Organizational communication largely focus on building relationship and interacting with internal organization members and international external parties. We can divide organizational communication into four main types. One is formal communication, informal communication, horizontal communication, and vertical communication.
Right. Jayasekara 042. Not online, it's absent, no? You are the one? Sorry. Jayasekara. Jayakirti, sorry. Jayakirti 042.
Communication is the process by which information is exchanged and understood by two or more people, usually with the intent to motivate or influence behavior.
Right. Next one, Fernando 062. 62.
Non-verbal communication under the types of communication. Non-verbal communication is dependent on expression and physical movement as opposed to verbal communication. For the use of language to transfer information to written text, speaking, or sign languages. Best example is traffic policemen how to control vehicles on armed signs.
Yeah, it should be correctly given, no? Otherwise, sort of accidents can happen, no? Sometimes people are using hands mistakenly, no? We can't predict that. Understand that clearly. P 007. Absent. Francisco 002. Absent. Tushani 28. 028. Tushani, not here, no? Paushan.
About the language barrier to the communication. The language when the users are using the words should be clarified the actual meaning they intend to tell in both written and verbal communication. And the tone they are using during the verbal communication is very important to pass the original message they wanted the person who's taking that information.
Right. Pereira 13. 1 trick.
Communication with another person or group of people. It can be overcome doing training and experiences.
Right. Sandharwan, maybe online, eh? 037. Sandharwan, your chance.
Yes, sir. So my learning point is an action can be taken by the management to overcome barriers to effective communication. So that first point is that that make your ideas clear that before the communication, and management can obtain immediate feedback from the employees after that messages we have delivered, and they make the messages very short and focus on the topic. And the fourth point is we can make that our body language is more clear that when we are communicating the messages, and we need to use that language that other people can be understandable.
Okay, right. Vikraman Nayak, 017. Absent. Chandrakanti from online 019. What's your answer?
My learning point is people can interpret the same message different way according to their emotions.
Yeah, and other personal variables, no? Right, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Can you give an example?
When someone is happy and their message, the way they give the message is different when he is angry.
034 only number is here. Not a day. Continuously, there are blanks. Only first day he has come to test the class. Right. Then the code 022. Absent, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good
You
morning.
are the one, Karnasen.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, yeah, what's the answer?
So my learning point is communication is an important part of an organization to achieve the company's goal. Nowadays, most of the organization they following electronic communication to communicate their employees as well as managers, especially WhatsApp, Zoom meeting, Teams meeting. This is very effectively using nowadays.
Okay, right. Subject to that mistake, no? Sorry, drawback. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
misunderstanding and misusing it.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
next one is also a number. All are blank, most are blanks. 103. 103. Only first day has come on online. Kaluarachchi 009.
Communication. It's a process of sharing ideas among the peer group and maybe among your departments and units of the same organization. This communication at work will make employees more time efficient because it consists of conversations which are very informal and easier to engage in and are very less stressful. So on the other hand, this might lead to increased work productivity.
Right. Coming now only have to answer. Yasin.
Communication plays an important role in the corporate world because the subordinates, whatever the hierarchy you are in, if the subordinates do not are they are supposed to do, there is not an effective communication like the formal way, like we learn today. There won't be an impact for the company. And I would like to also speak about the implications that management has brought up and for proper communication. And they have brought up like the electronic communication much more simpler, like the Microsoft Teams in a more user-friendly manner, so that we can have effective communication.
Next one, Taranga 003. Taranga. Absent, no? Pallibar.
Communication helps managers to perform their jobs and responsibilities. Good communication can impact an organization's performance positively. Good communication and management increases the productivity and satisfaction of the employees in an organization.
Yeah, there's a strong correlation, no, between these. Next one, Pinnaduva 054. Absent. Aravind 056.
Out of the barriers for effective communication, so I like to question something related to the language barrier. So even though the sender is using the same language that the receiver uses, but the words and the tones that he use should be appropriate. For example, employee of a company, if he decided to leave the organization, so he should communicate his resignation in a proper way to the employer. But totally will depend different from the what he tell to his family or friends. So the words that must be used in the proper way.
The formal communication. Rislan.
Yes, technical communication.
Yeah.
About filtering. Refers to center purposefully including the information, otherwise related to question. Receiving collectively based on their needs. Information overload.
Can you give one example for the filtering? one small example for the filtering problem. Based on your experience,
Yeah.
huh?
Information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How to distort that?
I can find
Says reps do that. Some say reps. But later they can be caught now. It's a kind of misrepresentation also, no? Not only filtering. But filtering happens in order to favor the other party. Imhani. Absent, no? Kalutantric.
Government communication means the organization communication lower level. Government communication means from bottom to top. On the communication, government communication is there.
Right. Go never go there. Not by online, no, sir. Then absent. No? PWD Pereira. Also absent. WCD Silva. Right.
Obviously, what is the importance of the communication? Communication is the most important to achieve the company goals. It is mainly effective decision making to the good communication method. As example, manager vision has to write some good information. They have to push communication to overall the company. Employees unable to good communication method, they can't get the position in the company.
Yeah, we noted it is the number one skill set for successful leadership. In the second document, we noted. Madhushani.
Multiple communication, there are few types. One is upward communication. It is a flow of information from employees to managers. And the second one is the downward communication. Downward communication takes place when information flow from managers to subordinates.
What should be there to have vertical communication? Ilham. Absent. MAT Pereira. Also absent, no? Tatsarani. Also absent. Eva Patirana. Absent. Nalin Madhuvanshan.
Carriers of the electronic communication. In the electronic communication, all the parties should have a proper understanding and knowledge to communicate to electronic devices. And the pandemic situation also, the electronic communication also a popular communication way. And the very least, the privacy of the data to be considered. Some important data of the company, some hackers can be access data of the company.
Yeah. Hacking is a major problem, no? Right. Worldwide. Sena Ratna 063. Sena Ratna online. Yeah, what's the answer?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I would like to discuss about the communication process. For the communication process, there will be a sender and a receiver, and there will be a medium of transferring these messages, and it will be written or maybe it's verbal or any kind of a medium. So encoder will pass a message. It depends on the experiences, attitudes, and skills of the person, and the receiver will decode the message. And it depends how the receiver will receive the message will depend on the experience, attitude, on the skills of the person which received the message. And at the last, there should be a feedback to complete the communication process.
Okay, right. Thanks. The common model, no? All communicative situations. Almeja.
My learning point is barriers to effective communication. There are several barriers that can bring the effective communication, including language barrier. This occurs when positive parties involved in the communication speak different languages or different use technical jargon. An example is cultural barriers. Different cultures have different communication norms, such as body languages, gesture, that cause misunderstanding or offense. Other example is physical barriers. It can include distance, noise, or that privacy that can interfere with detection.
Yeah, that's the main category, no? Physical barriers. Noise also comes under that. Niranjan. Absent. All online members participated, right? No. Anyone is remaining? Vijay Sekar.
Informal communication. Formal communication refers to the communication that follows without following the formal defined parts. And informal communication system is also known as wave one. For the example of the informal communication, rumors, gossips, and legends. And for example, the manager calls an employee to talk with him for sometimes relating to officer. Rumors is expected that the employee will be promoted to higher position, improving promotion of other employees.
Right. Jayant. PSR Jayant. Absent, no? Gunatilaka. What's your answer?
Learning point is the language is one of the most important barriers to an effective communication. Even when people communicate by their own language, the meaning of expression should be properly communicated to the other party. The content would be clear, properly organized. Further, would include proper jargon, proper script, ideal content, good time management, attentive to listeners, and most importantly, relevant to the given ideas.
Right. That's all. Any new members came? Anybody did not participate? All four online members took part, no? Right, no doubt. Then all you did you came late, no? Right. What's your name? Huh?
Number 2.
Number
2.
Francisco. Right. What's your answer?
Wish to talk about nonverbal communication. By taking an example, my working experience, we had our colleague, he was very disappointed. His working load and his disappointment was expressed by his body language and the facial expression, and he could identify his disappointment. And we had a solution to him, and he finally came with us without giving resignation. How we identify his facial resignation, facial expression, his body language. He was very disappointed. That kind of communication is used for us to in our life also. Kind of informal ways to communicate.
But he didn't use that, but naturally it appeared. But you understood, no?
Yes.
This is also part of body language. Okay. Not mentioned in a theory, but practically that also comes under for that, no? Okay, now all finished. But I am not going to have another quiz because there are more absent members, no? Then we will be meeting on other days. Right. Then we have completed quizzes for 8 days, 2 more. At least 2 more can be done to complete this part. We have 10 marks. So in addition to this, I try to, prepare the concept book in a quality way, in a better way, right? Then by 12th March, and you have to upload it. Right, then I will share the ebook also to study a case and to identify some new concepts in that communication topic chapter mentioned there. Share that, no? Yeah, some key points, no? Communication is the exchange of messages between people for the purpose of reaching common understanding and achieving common goals. Unless common meanings are shared, managers find it extremely difficult to influence others. Communication is an indispensable activity in all organizations. Valuable. No organization can think of its existence without effective communication. The organization relies on communications to learn what its customers want, to foster cooperation among its employees, and to identify and adapt to the changing environment, no? Changes in the environment. Within organizations, there are 3 directions in which communication flows: downward, upward, and lateral or horizontal. We mentioned, no? Non-verbal communication is communication by means of elements and behaviors that are not coded into words. A glance, stare, smile, frown, provocative body movements, they all convey meanings. Non-verbal communication includes all elements of communication such as gestures and the use of space that does not involve words or do not involve language. Barriers to communication are factors that block or significantly distort successful communication. Effective managerial communication skills helps overcome some, but not all, barriers to communication in organization. Therefore, perfect communication is not available. Right, but we can improve the effect. We'll see a case. Yeah, police. There's a small case left also, no? About. Not asking question, but we will read and understand. But now mostly your organization use now mostly group communication techniques also, no? Group communication techniques also. Right, relevance of organizational communication, na? Two paras are here. Organizational communication encompasses many aspects. It spans a wide range from formal and informal, internal communication practices to externally directed communications like media, public, interorganizational. In their book of these communication pointed out that communication is at the heart of organizational performance. Organizational communication includes marketing, public relations, investor relations, corporate advising, and environmental communication. Yeah, these are different areas, no? In the largest sense, it encompasses the organization's initiatives that demonstrate social responsibility and good citizenships. Human resource professionals uniquely position themselves at both the starting and finishing points of the communication continuum. From an HR viewpoint, effective organizational communication contributes to learning, teamwork, safety, innovation, and quality of decision making in organizations. In an age of increased competition for talent, communication has become a strategic tool for employee engagement, satisfaction, and retention. In fact, effective organizational communication contributes directly to employee and organizational learning, an essential factor for competitive advantages. Right. Then these are also benefits. Right. The most successful HR professionals are consummate communicators or effective communicators. No? Typically, the organizations over-communicate with all constituents, and their leadership styles transmit the traditions and values of their company. Yeah. Thus, as a promoter of effective organizational communication, HR is a key strategic partner. Human resource is a key strategic partner in leveraging the relationships between employees and top management. Yeah. That is a new HR role, no? We want to play as a line department, not only as a staff department. For that purpose, I think communication skills should be developed throughout the organization with the central role of the HR division. Right? Then big case, police. This happened in the Chicago, USA. Police miscue toll in bus incident. Right. There are three questions asked. What steps might state and local police take to improve communication with each other? One also shared, one body language with the police, traffic police. What type of formal communication patterns might work best in a situation like this? But we have to read the situation, story. How might non-verbal communication play a role, positively or negatively, in a situation like this where rapid, accurate communication is essential? First para, right? Sometimes communication misuse or miscue. Not only embarrasses and inconveniences people, it may also endanger lives. Such was the case one evening when police pulled over a bus outside Chicago and stormed it, looking for a murder suspect who wasn't on the bus. The incident started with a tip-off from the murder victim's family that the suspect might be traveling by bus from Chicago to Milwaukee, another city. Right. Chicago police issued a warning to other local police as well as the state police that the suspect might be on the bus, but to let him pass. Then they notified the Milwaukee police, who were ready to pick up the suspect as soon as he arrived. But Glenso and state police interpreted the message to mean that they should stop the bus and make an arrest. The miscue. Ms. Farah, there wasn't anything ambiguous about it, declares Paul Harlow, Director of Public Safety and Glenso. The message was that you have a suspect who is wanted for homicide. And that's probably, in my understanding, the highest priority message you can put out. So passengers were filed off the bus, herded to the side of the road, frisked and held there for several hours. Traffic on the highway was jammed up for miles. Meanwhile, the suspect had actually boarded another bus to Milwaukee, where he was arrested later. Law enforcement claimed that had he been on the stop bus, the situation could have become dangerous very quickly. What caused this communication miscue? First, there was no formal pattern of communication leading to a clear chain of command, as we discussed, no, under vertical communication. Second, there were errors in perception, but we discussed under barriers, no. The message that Chicago police intended as merely informational, both received and interpreted by other police department, Milwaukee, as a request for action, immediate action. Third, there was no feedback about the message from receiver to sender. Instead, the bus was stormed. Right. Last one. The California Highway Patrol has a policy that would have prevented such a miscue. An officer may not take action such as pulling over a bus unless he or she has received approval from the supervisor at headquarters through the top-down communication. We want to make sure that someone that has a slightly different perspective that may not be caught up in the situation can provide guidance, explains Steve Kohler of the organization. What's next? It is a safe bet that police departments around Chicago are now working on improving communications. It's a good lesson for Sri Lankan police as well, right? Right. Then question 1. What steps might state and local police take to improve communication with each other? At least 5 such points can be identified based on the concepts we discussed in the handout, but you better consider this information. Facts given in this case. What's 1 point? Or what step? Step means you can say points, suggestions. Some are given already in the case also. One is, use formal communication, no? Hierarchical communication, vertical communication, no? Right? Then have the feedback. Have the feedback to complete the communication process. What else? You can use the lateral communication also, no? To cross-check, verify. Yeah, using the horizontal communication or team-based communication, teamwork. Is in all channels or wheel method. All channels should work. Then another one. And use informal communication also, no, quickly while using the formal communication, no, to quickly pass the message, right? And likewise, you can derive some points for the first question. Second one, what type of formal communication patterns might work best in a situation like this? Chain and wheel both can work. What we discussed in the and all channels. All channels. Three should be given. Then drawbacks can be minimized. Deviations can be minimized. Right. How might nonverbal communication play a role, positively or negatively, in a situation like this? It would be negative unless the particular sign of the nonverbal communication has been priorly understood. Right? Therefore, to work non-verbal communication positively in a situation like this, prior training should have been given, no? Otherwise, people will misunderstand the cue or sign, no? Given by. Therefore, in military, I think they have different codes, jargons in a prior training. In battle also it happens, no? They are using different codes. Right. Otherwise, in a situation like this, non-verbal communication can go for a disaster situations. It has happened here. The passengers have been taken out, no, to the bus, and they were waiting hours and hours. Huge traffic jam happened due to this one. Right. Quite interesting, no? Therefore, these concepts, no, are in the practice always. Basic concepts are in the practice always. Right, we have more time, no? Now it is 11:05, no? 11:05. Initially, I thought of it is close to 12, now 11:05. Yeah. In that sense, I can do another lesson also. Sometimes there can be some urgent days, no, which cannot be met by me and you. Then there's another small lesson, but that is important. We have to cover that. Inevitably, controlling. Shall we do that? After that, we will do other lessons set for leading, like groups and names. But controlling should be done. That's the last function, no, in the process. We will do that also, no? We can do that. You all understood, no? The things I did up today? Because the lesson name is communication. Yeah, we will with the
Group presentation.
yeah, I think there should be a time slot not to have presentation. But first you try to prepare a good report and upload that. Later we will decide that. For other subjects, are you doing oral presentations here in this semester? Yeah, you have done, no? Right. For how many subjects you are supposed to do oral presentations? Only for one? What's the subject? Marketing? No. Economics. Economics. Only one, no? It's a team presentation. Yeah. Let's see, depending on the timeline. But having 1 week is enough. If so, you have to prepare slides, no? Okay, then we will do this lesson as well. Not coming. Anyway. Yeah, we will do this lesson as well. It is also a short one. Controlling. that means managerial controlling or organizational controlling. The fourth and last function in the management process. Yeah, we will cover these points, right? But without planning, no controlling. Then controlling is the systematic process of regulating organizational activities to make sure that they are consistent with the plans or standards of performance. Right. Therefore, this is the first step of controlling process, performance standards. But that happens through the planning, as a result of planning. Then controlling is the function to make sure the organizational activities are happening in a consistent manner, in an expected way. Right. Such a process is called management control. Right. Therefore, the essence of controlling is action which adjusts operation with predetermined standards and through information in the hands of the managers. Right. Therefore, this is also a decision-making process. Controlling is also a managerial decision-making process through information. Continues. Therefore, control suggests the operations of checking, testing, regulation, verification, adjustment. Mostly in auditing also, these are done. In a financial audit also, these are done. Verification, testing, vouching, checking. Those are all audit controls, control methods, financial control methods, audit controls controls. That is one major major method of control, financial controls. Others are non-financial controls. But there are three types of controls, like inputs, process, and output. These are not the methods, but types. The methods also can be given there as examples for the three types. Yeah, this is the control process. Looks like a flow chart. There are 4 steps involved. First step, as mentioned in the definition, establishing performance standards or having performance standards or KPIs, right? Then measure actual performance with the standards. Then there can be difference. No matter for the minimum differences, they are allowed. Then do nothing. If the differences are immaterial, it says the current control methods are working well. Then do nothing, but that feedback should be done in both the ways. Feedback should be done. If the calculated measures are very significant, that means the current control methods are inadequate, not monitoring well. Then adjustment should be done with the corrective actions. Then adjustment can be done first for the standards and for the method used to measure the standards. Right. That's how a management controlling process should be understood. It's a straightforward one, but very important. No? Right, these are the 3 types of controls I mentioned: inputs, process, outputs. There are similar names for them. What are the similar names for input controls? One is feed forward, not the feedback, feed forward, or proactive. Proactive or preventive are the similar names. Anticipations are made. Active anticipation and prevention of problems can be done. Mostly managers can use standing plans for this purpose. Right. But there are other measures also like structure, culture. They also do hidden control methods. Right. The opposite one is the output. Similar names for that are feedback, reactive, detective, and so on. No? After knowing the mistake difference, remedial actions are come up. That is called feedback control or output control. Lot of financial control methods look like this. Output controls, including audit controls, financial statement analysis, ratio analysis, variance analysis. Right. All are output control methods. But this is the type, not a method. Right. In between we see process controls. Similar names are concurrent controls, ongoing controls. Right. During the process, some controls can be taken. Good examples are production controls, quality controls, management by observation, walking around, observations. All these are ongoing controls. In driving also we do, no? Driving and riding. We sound the horn. One way it is feed forward. To prevent an accident, we sound the horn. Another way it is a process. While driving, we do that. Right. After an accident, sounding horn is not working. And before that, we have to, in a wide wind, we have to sound them. I do that actually. But in a proper way, not unnecessary. Because we can't drive with buses and all without horn here. In a developed point, no need of doing. We hardly hear horns, but here mostly we hear horn. Let's drive it, more horns. Right, that's how these three types of management control should be identified, right? Right. Then coming to the methods, then broadly we can identify financial control methods and non-financial control methods, or quantitative methods and qualitative methods. Right. Financial controls are used with financial or quantitative dimensions. Good examples for them are financial statement analysis, ratio analysis, financial budget, financial audit, variance analysis, etc. There can be many more, but I have selected these only. You know better than me, since you are the experts in this accounting finance areas. This degree program also goes like BSc in applied accounting, no? Right. Right. The other non-financial control methods are non-financial budget, non-financial audit or system audit, production control methods, human resource control methods, corporate culture control, those things are right. I highlighted these as popular control methods or practices. One is open book management, the other one is the balance scorecard. We were talking this in a planning topic also, no? Under strategy mapping, I mentioned this. Kaplan and Norton introduced this in early 1990s. Still, I think researchers are studying about this, practitioners are using this. This comes under strategic management accounting. Strategic management accounting. But in general management also, we should know this one. Open book management is a team-based control method where the team leader and the members can use modern sophisticated computer packages to gather information and to analyze them and to make decisions on controlling. No, it is a bottom-up method or highly a decentralized control method or distributed control method. Right. Right. That's how I quickly finish this one. Any other questions? We define controlling, we identify, we describe the controlling process, then identified and described the control types and methods. We highlighted two methods, open book and balance scorecard. Then balance scorecard is compare vision oriented, vision critical. Then these are the four areas. In that Indian case also we mentioned that software development company only had performance criteria with the financial orientation. It lacked the KPIs included in these other three areas. But using these tiny letters, you can understand how KPIs, so measures, can be identified under these four areas. Right. But organization to organization, the wording should be different. If it is a hospital, these criteria should be identified to match with the hospital setup. But all four are important for any organization, for a small business also. If it is a blue chip company, it should identify these indicators differently. Right. It is a bank differently. But all these are common terms. For all organizations, there are customers, they need to improve profits, maintain wealth. There are processes, internal processes, they should learn and grow up in the market. Even this applies for a university, for a school, right? For a church, for a charity, for a multinational, giant multinational, and so on, right? Then I should give revision questions also for this, no? Then you do redo this and try to do a good revision now. I'll give only one question. Briefly explain three major types of organizational controls. Three major types of organizational controls. Briefly explain three major types of organizational controls with examples. Right. Most of the areas can be covered throughout there in answering to this question. But need not to define the control in here. And need not to talk about the process even. Right. For that 10 marks, 10 marks. Not 10, 9 marks. There are 3, no? 9 marks. Okay, then we will go to the book also to know more about this. Then, should come later in control. This one. This is a network diagram, no? PERT diagram. Another quantitative method, no? In project management also these are used. To identify the critical part, no? Right, we'll consider any small cases, caselets. No. Correct. Even Gantt charts, etc., also can be done, introduced by Henry Gantt. Then Kaoru Ishikawa also introduced 7 tools for the controlling purpose of quality improvements. That is on quality controls. Pareto charts was an effect diagram, fishbone, check sheets, dashboards. Right. These are the questions asked, no? in parts also. For this case, what are the factors which are within the control and outside the control of the men and the companies concerned in this case? Are they doing substantially something about matters they can control? What is the role of the boss towards these departmental members? What role can each department head play? What can each one do to help the boss play a better role? Right. Rita. A purchase manager's troubles. Description. I, purchase manager, that is, I am faced with a dilemma. I am not between the devil and the deep sea. I am in a deep sea and the devil is waiting on the shore. Well, the purchases in most industries are based on the production program, which in turn is based on the sales forecast. Now, firstly, the production has fallen far short of the target, and secondly, the sales forecast has failed to materialize into firm orders. The net result is that the financial position of the company has been badly shattered. So much so, even the bills for supplies already made are not being paid in accordance with the terms stipulated in the purchase orders. The suppliers, these days, this may be happening now for many businesses, have been made unsuccessful attempts with the accounts department playing hell with the purchase officers. Right, supply A, extract from a letter. Quotation. We regret that our above bill has still not been paid, even though the supplies were made over a month ago, and as per the agreed terms, full payment was to be made within 2 weeks from the date the supplies are effected. Neither this letter nor the numerous subsequent reminders are replied to. Right. Supplier says, it is indeed a matter of surprise and regret that the payment against our above bill, now overdue by over 4 months, has still not been released. We have sent countless reminders which have not been acknowledged. We fail to appreciate such an attitude from a firm of your repute. We are sorry to advise that unless our payment is released immediately, we shall have no other alternative but to discontinue all further supplies and hand over the case to our legal section for realization of our deals together with interest accrued thereof. Right. Supplier B, local firm, during a personal visit to the office, you tell me to go to your accounts department and they tell me to come to you. Well, I am not concerned with your internal affairs. You place the order and your man collected the materials from our godown. What you do is your business, but you better get me payment. Right. Account say, I don't have a note printing press. How can I pay unless machines are sold and money realized? They say, how could I know that the money market would suddenly become so tight? All these industries have expansion plans, but now they have either been deferred or cancelled. Anyway, I am sure it is only a temporary phase. Production. Either we should close down this factory or the shops should be fed with the materials they need. Today, this is not there. Tomorrow, that is not there. Then I'll be criticized for not achieving the production target. I am not bothered with your supplies or their bills. I must have the material to run the factory. The problem cannot, I consider, be attributed to any lack on my part, yet I am the one mostly directly affected. Not only am I the natural target of suppliers' abuses, but also I am the one who will have to confront difficulties in future procurements because no one wants to deal with bad paymasters. Right. Each one, no? Tries to pass their responsibility to others. Right. Then question 1A. What are the factors which are within the control and outside the control of the men and the company is concerned in this case. Yeah, first we have to look at the organization, no? Said organization. The main means we can consider their positions, ne? Positions. Right. This is purchase manager. Then the other organizations are the suppliers, supplier A, B. Then these are the accounts department, sales, production. Right. What are the factors which are within the control and outside the control of the main and the company's concerned? What are the, controls, controllability within the purchase manager? To do the purchase, no? Following the procedures, no? Procedures as per the purchase orders, no? To the things and terms mentioned in the purchase orders. That is controllable, no? To him. But purchase manager and the people there cannot go beyond that, no? It cannot prepare the sales budget, no. It is up to the sales manager, marketing manager to do that. Therefore, the question asks us to identify the particular scope of the job controls in the control in and out there. Right. Then likewise, you have to identify the account. What's the role of the account control, controllability of the accounts, people and sales people and the production. You can read the context. Right. But you can use your own knowledge also, and the concepts we discuss in controlling topics, especially the types of controls: input, output, and process controls. With that, you can answer it. Are they doing substantially something about matters they can control? Yes or no? But you have to elaborate. Yes or no? No. It seems that it should be integrative, no? Integrative. I mean, as mentioned in the balance scorecard, not only the internal control should be considered, the other customer, finance, learning growth, all can be connected. Therefore, these people are not have not understood that the integrity of the different control methods and different areas in control. They don't have a system perspective, right? They are only the piecemeal perspective. Right. Likewise, you can elaborate that one. Second one, what is the role of the boss towards this departmental boss? That's what now we said. The boss, top manager should have place a good structure, right? Communication, coordination, and standing plans clearly. What we discussed in previous sessions, those are not seen visible in this organization. And leadership style, no? Especially coordination, vertical, horizontal coordination cannot be found here. That's the top manager's role, right? As task senders, right? What role can each department head play? They have to. What can each department head play? What can each one do to help the boss player better? That's what. Then how these functional level managers, divisional managers can help to implement the instructions and other mission driven things introduced by senior managers, top managers. They have to have good departmental plans, no? Department plans and good budgets, departmental budgets to unite their people in line with their functional role. And they also should do interdepartmental communication, what we discussed today, right? Interdepartmental communication, right? Therefore, all management functions should work together, no? Controlling only cannot work in an isolation. The planning, organizing, leading, controlling are mutually related. They are mutually related. Right. Therefore, I think these departmental bosses should function as intermediaries or middlemen to fill all gaps, including communication gaps, knowledge gap between senior managers and lower level managers. Right. Such a way you can answer that. Actually, this is not only about controlling. We have to use the knowledge we gain from other research sources. Right. Organizing, leadership, right? That's the nature of the management process. The four functions are mutually related to each other. This is a last, maybe the last lesson now in the book. Then you have to use the integral knowledge. You can't study controlling only knowing about controlling. You should know about planning, organizing, leading, communication, everything, leadership, motivation even. Because we have to study those things before controlling. But today I skip group power control, because without that also even now you can answer these questions. On the remaining days we will do them. Right. Yeah, summary. Controlling is an important function of management. It is the process that measures current performance and guides it towards some predetermined objectives. Control is fully consistent with freedom. In fact, they are interdependent. That's what I mentioned, interdependent. Without control, freedom cannot be sustained for long. The control system should be appropriate to the nature and needs of the activity. A large firm's call for control different from those needed for a small firm. The techniques of control involves the feed-forward control, concurrent control, and the feedback control. There are several techniques to establish control system in an organization like CPM, Gantt chart, PERT, etc. These are quantitative methods, no? Right. Budgets. That's all, no? Then should we do a quiz also for the controlling? No? We will do it quickly. Yeah, otherwise from the next day we have to do, no? Right. We will do that quickly. You also can easily answer with your recent knowledge. Otherwise, you will forget this, no? Then this is the 9th one, no? Then on the next day we can complete our quiz program, right? Yeah, then Arachchi, and pick a small point, very clear small point. Then others also can learn from your explanation. Right. Arachchi, what's your learning point? Otherwise, managers cannot drive the organization forward, no? Without knowing, without having a feedback of the performance. Yashoda.
Process controlling, monitoring, and adjusting ongoing activities.
Yeah, what happens in controlling, monitoring, and adjusting ongoing activities. That is the essence of control. Say
financial statements, ability, and ratio ability. When it comes to non-financial controls, it can be used in non-financial budget and financial audit.
Right. Puspika.
Output control, you can identify as feedback control, reactive control, effective control.
Right.
And
Okay. Right. Nisanka.
The process of management control. First one is the establishing standard. Second is the measure annual performance. Third one is the compare performance to the standard. Fourth one is the take corrective action.
Right. Fonseca. Absent, no? This Samantunga 016 absent. Bandar. You were here.
Municipal control, non-financial control, financial control, issue analysis, financial budget and financial review.
Right. This is 001.
The prevention and concurrent controls, which is controlling or peak time control, which is learning from mistake.
Right. Next one was absent, no? Sandharwani was absent. Next one, Afras.
That's not management control. First, we need to establish standards of performance. Then we can measure the actual performance. Then we can compare the performance to the standard.
Right. Cover? All right. Okay. Yes. Yes. What is? That's all. Next one was absent. Samartunga 005. Then Ratnayaka. Zero 18. Yeah, from online. Eh? Yeah, certainly.
Financial control and financial control. Financial control is financial budget and auditing and financial control.
Yeah, these are the methods of techniques in two types. Jayavikrama 046. You know, what's your learning point?
I learned about what is the team. Team is the number of people who work together to accomplish purpose or goals. Advantage of team is focus on collaboration and better for problem solution. Disadvantages individual goal. Some teamwork, supervision, solving problem, creating product, and other functions.
Yeah, from where you got this from the book code? We didn't talk about teams now.
Team sources, group work,
Yes.
under control.
But can you, I mean, strictly follow the things we discuss now in this lesson? Later we will do group teams. Huh? Yeah, team-based controls. Group-based controls. All right. In this case also, I think we found in this case, there are different groups, standing groups. Right. They can help to fill the gap between senior managers and lower level. Right. That's the role of groups or divisions. Jayakirti.
Type of organization control and open book management and other different types of controls. It's the one important aspect of decentralized controlling organizations. This allows employees to see themselves through charts, computer, printout meetings, and then stuff for the financial condition of the company.
Right. It's a distributed, decentralized control approach, not a method actually. It has approach. Balance scorecard is also an approach to control. Fernando 062.
For to measure outcomes, because they are like affects profitability in long term. Customer satisfaction is increasingly important in strong non-financial control. Examples for non-financial budget, non-financial production, control method, human resource control.
Right. Piris 007. Absent, no? Francisco.
Output controls on the different types of organization control. It says that checking of the completed activity and learning from the mistakes. It allows the managers to use information in past performance and bring future performance into planned objectives.
Right. Tushani was absent. Paushan.
Of the KPIs as a step of the control process. So all three top, middle and lower management should include in that set of process. And it is very important to keep the KPIs feasible KPIs.
Yeah. Actually, this happens in planning, no? As we discuss in planned operations. Or in MBO. Pereira 013. But these are the four perspectives, four areas for controlling. Sandharwal 037 from online.
Yes, sir. Sir, my learning point is financial controls. Financial controls and policies are prepared to design to prevent detect accounting errors and fraud. So example are that account reconciliation, double counting cash deposit, and approving new vendors and rotating staff responsibilities.
Right. Vikramanayake was absent. Chandrakanti from via online, no? Right.
Non-financial controls. Non-financial controls used with non-financial dimensions such as non-financial budgets, non-financial audit, production control method.
Right. The number was absent. Then the code 022.
Yes, sir. My learning point is financial budget. It's a major part of an organization to forecast the future cash flow to management. It will help management to take a strategic decision.
Right. Okay. Mainly cash budget plays a key role, no? Cash budget.
Yes, sir.
And cash flow statement, no? Right. Kaluarachchi.
Cash flow.
Kaluarachchi.
I would like to talk about input controls. These are also known as feed forward controls. These might help managers to think what to be done ahead to help their plan succeed. And this would prevent problems rather than passive reactions.
Right. Yasin.
I would like to speak about financial control and some organizations outsource those services to get it done for them to get an assurance of their objectives with cash by stakeholders. So I would like to talk about the financial audit that they do annually to some organizations who for their financial statements, they get their activities materially misstated or whether they are free from fraud. And they would wholly rely on the auditor's report.
But before external audit is done, internal audit should have been done, no? Right. Taranga. Absent. Pallibagi. You had a nap also, no? Good nap during the class.
critical transformational controls under that feedback control. Example of feedback control is when a sales goal is set, the sales team has to reach that goal for 3 months, and at the end of the 3-month period, managers review the results and determine whether the sales goal was achieved.
Right. Yeah, that deals with self-control. Freedom, no? Then in the book also mentioned self-control. It is very important than other controls. Sorry. Then Pinnaduva was absent. Aravind.
There are three types of controls in organization. So you can say the first one, the input control and process control. So of these input and process type of controls are the preventive type of controls. When something before happen, they are exist to prevent. Then output controls are something like a detective type of controls. So these will identify after something happened, and from that the organization will learn to prevent in the future.
Can you give one of your examples for feed forward? Good feed forward control, detective.
Organization with the cash, so they have a system always monitoring the cash operation. So if something happened to that to prevent the person who has it fraud, so I can't do any fraud which goes on the facility operation.
At the outset, it looks like process control ongoing, but it is preventable as well. Yeah, a lot of ICT techniques can be used to control behavior proactively. Even the large society, it can be done, no? In developed countries, Singapore and all, no? These are highly placed. Right. Rishlan.
Financial controls used to financial dimensions. Example, financial budget, financial system.
Right.
The one is non-financial controls.
All right. You got it.
The one is management and the other one is balance sheet.
Right. Iman was absent.
Sir, excuse me, sir. I am here, sir. Hello.
Then
I could.
now only you
I could
log
not.
on, no? No.
No,
Now
sir.
please let's first tell about controlling.
Controlling, sir. My learning point is financial control and non-financial control. Financial control used with financial dimension, financial statement analysis, ratio analysis, and financial budget. Non-financial control used with non-financial dimension, non-financial budget, non-financial audit and production control method for and human resource control. So shall I tell my next
Point about communication.
Yes, sir. My different type of under the different type of communication, my learning point is downward communications. Downward communications mean flow from one level of a group or organization to a lower level. As an example, assign goals, provide job instruction, explain policies and procedures, point out problems, offer feedback about the performance to employees by managers and team leaders.
Mostly these link with what type of control? These communication methods.
Yes, sir.
Link with what type of controls? Now we discussed. It's overlapping. There's an interconnection.
Sir, I think.
With what type? First, second, or third?
Second, sir, measure.
No, with first one, no? Feed forward, most of people know no? How to follow, what to follow, no? Right. Okay.
Yes, sir. Establish standard of performance.
We'll establish.
Okay, sir.
Right, then, Kaluarachchi.
There are two types, financial control and non-financial control. They can be a good example to financial control. They are very good and identify different ways of technology to get to the control of channel.
Right. Gonalagood was absent, no? Then WD Pereira was also absent. WC Silva was here.
Was This mentions the financial statement analysis, regional analysis, and financial audits, and budget analysis, relates to the financial statements.
Right. Madhushani.
Costs which are executed by monitoring financial statement analysis, ratio analysis, and budget analysis. Non-financial controls are used with non-financial dimensions like production controls, HR controls, etc.
Right. Next, for all four are absent, no? Ilham, MT Pereira, Tatsarani, Eva Patirana, all were absent. Nalin was here, right?
My learning point is feedback control. Completed activity and learning from the mistake. This person to manage to do information to pass the performance to future performance into the life plan complete.
Right. Then Sena Ratna online 063, no?
Yeah. Sir. I would like to discuss the process of management control in an organization. Firstly, managers should establish the standards of performance. So then after, the actual performance should be measured. Then after, performance and standards should be compared. So if there is any significant area to be improved, the manager should take the corrective actions by giving the feedbacks, adjusting the standards and actual performance.
Right.
Adjusting the performance.
That's about control process, right? Then Almeda.
Yes, sir.
Like talk about different types of organizational control. First one is input control. These are used to manage the resources required for the organization's operations, such as financial resources, equipment, and material. Second one is behavior control. Process controls. These are used to manage the behavior of employees within the organization, establishing rules and policies, providing training and supervising employees' activities.
Right. Niranjan was absent, no? 048. Vijay Sekar.
About the open group management, it's one of the methods of organizational control. Open group management is the business practice of creating principal identification information with employees through transfer meetings. This includes financial education for your employees and showing them how your production influences the experiments.
Right. Janand was absent, no? Then Gunatilaka was here, right?
One main type of control. This control means control is to ensure that any process standards and pre-planned levels. For this purpose, the results can be used the production control, quality control, observations, and etc.
Right. Is there a newcomer? Ahmed came online. Hello, can you hear?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, then you like to share your views?
Yeah, we had to organization controls, input controls, and the processing of the controls, process of controls. That's ongoing control. That's the monitor the ongoing activities of the company and doing the repetitive controls, and the feed forward controls is the prevention controls. This will help to improve the controls of the organization. And we had organization communication method. That means formal and informal communication. Formal communications are built by the company with the with the formal way, which will be the managers. It's already pre-planned how to the communication to whom we have to report, and the informal communication we have to interact with the staffs without any pre-planned matters like personal communications like that.
Right. You are a newcomer.
Sorry?
You are a newcomer. What's your usual name?
Nafli. MNN Ahmad.
What's that?
MNN Ahmad. My roll number is 26.
Have you come on other days also?
Yeah, I am participating.
Nice the name now here.
Sorry?
I can't recognize your name mentioned in this list.
MNN Ahmad. My registration number is 026.
It is okay. Both are not available, not mentioned here. Then there was a number only. But except the first day, yeah, all others, other days, they got blanks.
But I'm attending not all the time because I have work, so I'm attending and after that.
Anyhow, now I will write down your details at the end. Ahmed 026. For controlling now you explain. How about for communication? You did not participate, no?
I mean, no, participate I have explained now. So
Yeah.
You want me to tell
the
again?
point about communication also?
Yeah, actually the communications company have there are two types of communication. One is formal and informal method. So formal we have two types, horizontal and vertical. Basically, what is informal communication is that's already drafted in they have given already to whom we have to report and how the communications to be done, and it's going according with the company's structure. It's type of a rule and format given already. What is informal communication is it's just communicating to the colleagues without any procedures. It's like a talking their personal stuff and exchanging their thoughts. So the both formal and informal communications are important to the company because both will give a input to the companies to improve their knowledge and share the information among us.
Okay, then with that, everybody took part, no? No any pendings, no? Right. All online members were also participate, right? They explain their views as the learning points. Right, then we can finish now. We did a lot of things today to par with the other lecturers as well. Right, then based on the timetable, we'll meet, right. But anyhow, without cancellation, this goes on, no? This hybrid class goes on. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye.